All right, so political analyst Somadoda Fikeni joins me from our Cape Town studios. Good afternoon, Somadoda. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, Vavi has been seen as somebody who fights for the people. He stood his ground with the leadership in South Africa at the moment. What do these latest allegations say about him as a leader?
Well, I do think that they will weaken him somewhat, but surely his political career will continue, because we've seen quite a number of political leaders who have actually gone through the same in South Africa. Sex scandal alone doesn't seem to have had a precedent of taking down leaders, but it must be a cumulative effect of all other things. And in this case, Vavi still has to deal with the political challenges within Cosatu.
Yes, also there are political challenges within Cosatu. Also, he's been accused of mishandling the sale of old Cosatu house. Does that still mean that his political career will survive all of that?
It may survive, but he will be weakened somewhat, especially with this particular scandal.
All right, so but how ethical does he look at this stage?
Well, the moral bar has been lowered when in fact he had a high moral ground on a whole range of issues such as corruption. He was quite forthright. So right now he surely is a weakened individual.
What about his support base at this stage? Do you think it's stronger or a lot more weaker than before?
Those who believed in him quite strongly and those affiliates will continue supporting him because they'll view this as a conspiracy. Those who doubted his credentials will continue to do so, also pointing out that these improprieties and indiscretion may actually also point towards the other issues he's accused of in terms of the, administrative problems within Cosatu transactions.
So what is the thought out there in South Africa? Are we just going to say, oh, shame, this happens quite often, so it's okay that this happened? Or do you think there should be a harsher stance against what happened, considering that he had sex in the office to a subordinate?
Well, the issue of ethical leadership ought to be something that is raised sharply in South Africa, because the lowering of the bar over time has a cumulative impact. And the issue of moral relativism, to say so-and-so did it, therefore the next one has done it, is most likely going to cause erosion of some of our values. But at the same time, the fact that you have a story behind a story at the face value, conspiracy theories abound, it's also going to make the gender agenda and many other issues very difficult to tackle, problematic as they are.
So where is the problem? Is it because we do not have ethical leaders that one can look up to, that we're so blasé about an event like this almost?
Well, I do think that there is a generalized crisis in terms of ethical leadership on a whole range of issues. Hence, the levels of corruption are very high. And you also have the very thin line between sex being used in conspiracies, political battles, and also the gender issues, the relationship between men and women, power relations, politics and money. All those things, I do think that the nation need to raise the bar. But this also reflects the general weakness of the women's movement or the gender movements, which could be raising the bar and forcing the society to debate some of the issues in a manner that is separated from some of these, at face value political gameplays.
Now, when you say raise the bar, we've had events like this happening in the past as well. So where do we exactly begin? I mean, we've had conversations about this many a times.
I do think that a social movement which begin to take political leaders of women's movements on and indicate to them that they ought to do better than what they are doing is most important. And it is quite clear right now that it's not political parties which will do that. It's not the current political formations which will do that, because they may have become desensitized to some of the issues because of more urgent political exigencies.
All right, Somadoda, thank you so much for your time. That was political analyst Somadoda Fikeni.
News that moves. eNCA.com.